Good morning. I hope you're having a lovely weekend. Today I'm going to do a really simple fresh makeup, and essentially what I want to get across in this is I feel like if you use a tiny bit more of everything that you're used to using every day, it can look really flawless and you can look really polished even though you've got a really simple, maybe small set of products on. So go and grab your makeup bag if you want to work along with me. What I'm going to do also in this video, for the sake of saving myself a task a little bit later in the week, we've got a special offer on QVC next week for IT Cosmetics. If you don't watch QVC, this probably will go straight over your head. If you do watch QVC, it's like the IT Cosmetics version of Christmas Day next week. And basically we've got a really lovely set of products, the mascara, the brand new foundation and the concealer. They're usually about £80 to buy all together. They're going to be somewhere around 40 for the set next week, so everyone's going mad. So I thought I'd show you this look using those things so that next week, if anyone has any questions about that, I've got a video I can send them to. So I'm going to start with a little bit of Your Skin But Better foundation. Now, if you have a look, I've woken up with loads of redness and quite raised skin this morning. I had white wine last night, that's just what happens. However, I've been waiting for the haunting of Bly Manor for absolutely months, so of course I had a bit of white wine last night. So what I'm going to do first, for something really polished, using the tiniest bit more of what you're used to using can honestly make you feel just that bit more flawless. So whatever you're using, take a nice sheer layer all over the skin. First of all, I'm working this in with a fluffy buffing brush in circular motions. Now, one of the reasons why that foundation in particular is so good for me this morning is it doesn't really have a particularly luminous finish. So I love a luminous finish. I'm often using things like that. But if you have a particularly textured skin, like I've woken up with this morning, the luminizer can potentially draw a bit of attention to it that we don't want to do. So this has a slightly more kind of satin, velvety finish, and it's not going to draw any attention to the areas of texture. If anything, it's going to help to soften the appearance of them. So now that I've gone in with a sheer layer all over, I'm now going to take my brush and just pat a little bit more into the areas where, what I want you to think about is when you look in the mirror and think, where has my foundation gone? Pat a little bit more into those areas. For me, having the redness, it's anywhere that I am red that the skin is going to feel hot and it's going to melt away that bit more quickly. Another tip I would say, let's just say like today you might be going for a nice big walk somewhere. If the centre of your face is really flawless, then you're always going to look and feel like your makeup is perfect. So do make sure you've put a little bit more attention to the centre of the face. Now, you're probably using the products that you use every single morning. I feel like we all get complacent with them. Rather than just putting them on as quickly as you can, take an extra 5 minutes. See there, like we're 4 minutes into this video nearly and I've only got my foundation on, which to be fair, if I wasn't filming a video, I would have done a lot more quickly. But taking that extra bit of time, I feel like I've really covered that redness now, and sometimes just a little bit of patience makes a huge difference. So the next thing I'm going in with is a bit of Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer. That tiny little bit is going to do both of my eyes. You know me, I don't always tend to wear eye concealer because I often tend to take the excess of my foundation and just use that around the eye area. If you are doing concealer, what I would say is try and use as little as possible and build it up if you need more, because the thing is, it's so easy. Sorry, I'm looking over at the mirror, I should be looking at you. It's so easy to build it up, but if you've gone in with absolutely loads, it's a lot more difficult to then scale it back. In particular, I would really recommend that you start with as much of your heavy dose in this inner corner, because that can be, even you can see like the inner corner of that eyelid where there is a lot of discoloration. Everybody has a natural bit of discoloration. On me, it's like a pinky purple. On you, it might be something else right under that waterline. So I would also say, if you're taking your concealer underneath, avoid going right the way up to the top, because it can look a bit artificial and it might look a bit heavier than what you've actually done. And what we want to do here is create a nice flawless base that doesn't look like you've got absolutely loads on. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is powder that concealer. So another thing that probably comes up more often than most questions is, how do I stop my concealer from falling into fine lines, from looking heavy, from gathering? What I would say is you want to powder it as soon as it's on, because putting that powder on it will tell it, right, that's where I want you to stay, and just stay there. And it helps to prevent any moisture or spilling of that product into fine lines, and it will just keep it where you want it to stay. Now, I don't usually tend to powder this foundation, to be honest. Oh gosh, I've gone in with loads there. But I am going to powder this just because I'm going to put a little palette on top of it. And if you are using like a powder over a liquid foundation, a little bit of translucent setting powder will create a nice velvety canvas so that you don't end up with splodges of, you know, harsh application lines. Okay, really simple. My brows, I've grown them out, so they're looking quite full, touch wood. I'm just gonna accentuate what's already there. I'm gonna look down into a mirror to do this, because this one's a little bit further away. So I'm gonna really make sure that even though I'm only accentuating what's already there, the brows look quite polished. Something as simple as a nice little defined brow can really change the whole feel of the makeup, especially because I'm not planning on doing too much. I mean, obviously I'm going to buff that out a little bit, but look how polished that'll now look. It really can make all the difference to just framing everything. Another tip that I find myself saying to a lot of people, and I know it's really simple, but you'd be surprised, work around your eyebrows. Don't just take your brush and go over everything, because especially if you've got a darker brow like I have, getting any product in it will really kind of dull it down. So avoid getting any product in terms of your complexion through those brows. That'll just help to make everything nice and bright and fluffy. Now, the next thing I'm going to go in with is the Superhero Mascara. If you're going for a fresh, no makeup kind of look, again, take a bit of time on your mascara. Don't just throw it on and get out the door. For the sake of taking a little bit of extra time, it will really be quite a standout part of your makeup. Now, what I'm going to try and do is make sure that I tickle every single lash on the inner and outer corners here. You'll notice I'm looking down into my hand mirror. That really helps you to get to the root of the lashes and grab every single lash. And I'm just going to layer that until it feels quite nice and builded. Another thing I haven't done today, that I've been doing a bit more as we've, you know, been at home with slightly more time on our hands, cannot rate the eyelash curlers enough. That'd be one of those steps that I'd be thinking, oh, I really can't be bothered with that. Honestly, it makes all the difference. So if you've got the time and patience and you remember, get the eyelash curlers out. Because we're barely putting any products on, the ones that we do put on, we want them to be really nice and striking. As you can see, I've got a bit on the upper lashes there. Don't worry about that. I'm going to wait for that to dry and then I'll go and tidy that up. Now, lips. For a no makeup look, I always think it's really lovely to find a lip liner that's very similar to your natural lip colour. I'm going in with Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk. And really define the lips and give an outline. Watch now, I always draw my lips on a bit bigger anyway. It will make such a difference to how polished this whole makeup looks. So, I always plump the outer corners. But then I tend to leave the top in its natural shape. so that you can't really see that it's art. I mean, I think you can't really see. I think you can on me a lot of the time, to be honest. But anyway. And I'm going to actually take this all over. I mean, even that has polished everything up, but especially for a Saturday, I always like to go in with a bit of lip balm. This is the perfect kind of like outdoorsy, going for a walk, popping for a coffee. You haven't got loads on, but you feel nice and put together. So that is pretty much lovely, fresh, would be great. I'm just going to show you the tiniest bit of difference that a bit of blush, bronze, highlighter would take. Now, with your highlighter, I've said this and I haven't put a small brush next to me. With your highlighter, I obviously had lots of areas of texture. I'm going to avoid those. But the amount of difference a bit of highlighter can make just on a few little parts of the nose and up here, because again, the centre of that face is what's catching you. Doesn't that make this foundation look so much more luminous? And it's a bit highlighter on my nose. I'm going to take the same highlighter along the fullest parts of the cheekbones and along the brow bone. It's a very large brush. It's a lovely brush, actually. This is Daniel Sandler's contour and powder brush. I was talking about him the other day. He is absolutely the kind of hero of blusher and blusher placement. And that said, the brush does a great job. I'm going to put a tiny bit of blush. I'm going to really go quite soft on this because obviously redness is an issue for me today. So I don't want to go putting too much back in. But equally, now that I've put a full coverage on, I need to put a bit of life back into those cheeks. And then I'm going to take a fluffier brush and a tiny bit of bronzer just through that hairline. And actually, a few small steps. Hasn't that just transformed that foundation, given it so much depth? I look like I've done like a 50-step routine, and actually it's a few simple things that I throw on all the time, but tiny bit more product, tiny bit more slowly putting them on makes it really flawless. So I hope you've enjoyed. That was my simple makeup that I put up the other day. If you're here for QVC today, special value purposes, just a reminder, it's the mascara, foundation, the concealer, and this little bag that will be in the set next week. Lots of people message me asking for shade matches. I'm not being rude, not coming back to you or sending you to It Cosmetics. It's just that I'll get so many over the next few days, I wouldn't physically be able to go back to them. If you're looking for a shade match, you can message the It Cosmetics page directly and they will happily help you. And I'll look forward to maybe seeing you next week if you're watching any of the shows. And if you're not, and as I say, if that's gone completely over your head because none of that was anything that you were watching for today anyway, just give your makeup brushes a wash today. Try that tomorrow. Try those tips today as well. But when you've washed your makeup brushes and you go in with a fresh brush, little bit more product, little bit more time, you'll feel like a new woman or man in whatever makeup you're already using every day anyway. Okay, have a lovely weekend and I'll talk to you soon.